Horror trailers have a simple structure. An opening establishing setting and introduction of characters, the build-up, relationship established between characters and their world, the problems which the character sees and takes action to overcome it, and the event, the final chapter. In our psychological slasher horror trailer Titus, we wanted the trailer to both challenge and conform to existing horror conventions. We were intrigued by the opening of City of God, where the shots, ranging from close-ups to medium shots, introduce a knife being repeatedly sharpened against a rock, rapidly intercutting with the instruments. In our trailer, we used a butcher's knife, a weapon our audience would recognize in everyday life, which our first antagonist, the aggressor, handles with skill. This immediately sets the dark environment the audience is thrown into, as in many horror films, the weapon of choice represents a psychological state of the villain. Furthermore, audiences do not remember Psycho's most memorable shower scene being the scream or the nudity in the 1960s, but what they remember is the weapon. We had the first 12 seconds of the trailer fade in and out with 3 close-up shots intercut with 2 black screens, flashing different locations to set up a dark atmosphere. Chan-wook Park's Stoker 2013 influenced our trailer cinematographically as the consistent use of extreme close-ups, cut-ins, and the use of neat, wide angles and very wide shots emphasizes the eerie dark mood with the dead, pale effect within each shot. An example of this is in the very beginning of the trailer, where a peaceful forest-like park is introduced in 007. Horror films often feature dark, eerie colours, whereas Stoker protrudes with sharp and vibrant colours with hints of pale unsettling shadows, challenging the horror ideals. This effect was deeply creepy and unsettling, and so we incorporated this aesthetic into various shots, especially in the fast-paced sequences. The aggressor's cooking scene, the toasting wine glasses scene, and Lilith's piano playing. Moreover, incorporating a voiceover of Lilith, alike to Kidman's in the first 4 shots of Stoker, made the unknown character more threatening, as we do not reveal a face as Stoker does.
There are things in life that we must live with.
Personally speaking, I can't wait to watch life tear you apart.
We prefer to keep the antagonist hidden, as she is the most dangerous being you could meet, and in horror trailers and film, they usually only reveal the masked villain at the very end. This is a successful horror convention that introduces the trailer with a shivering stroke. The tension built by then already draws the audience in further and leaves them wanting to discover why Lilith ends with an important truth and how she has learned this.
Taking a person's soul and embodying their sins is an act of purification.
In the build-up and problem stage, we challenge the horror trailer structure and combine the 2 stages into one. Trailers may spend the first 10 seconds introducing the character to create the build-up with slow-paced shots, using parallel editing, overlaps with voiceovers, and then they often expose the real problem, but we wanted to directly introduce the characters and the problem at the same time, and then go back to creating the build-up, leading to the real event, working like a seesaw but with 3 ends.
I don't much like the tone of your voice, Mr. Ellis.
We believed that having the viewer see something different than the repetitive structure they would expect would pique their interest as they are watching the unpredictable, making them jump in unexpected scenes or making shivers run down their spine when they watch a cannibal wildly tear at meat. Interest, after all, is key. Stoker does this similarly by introducing Nicole Kidman in pain and anger, the opening scene, and later showing India's remorse over her father's death, it being the problem stage, then the build-up stage. This dramatic turn of events already unsettles the audience, and then they have to witness the consequences of having a character pass away. Power is a theme that is largely explored in horror, as a protagonist always has to fight against the evil power to bring justice to the world. In Titus, we introduce the 5 cannibals in suits to emphasize their wealth and power over their chosen victims and society. Their costume already gives off a powerful and eerie atmosphere, breaking apart the high-class cannibals from the working-class target audience, effectively grouping them with the chosen victims, as if the cannibals are even capable of abducting our target audience to devour. Alike in Red Dragon, Hannibal the Cannibal wears a black suit and a blood-red tie, his face and body freshly groomed, maintaining a high etiquette when he serves his guests with the remains of a missing musician, a perfectionist who is able to cover his tracks. The main boss, Lilith, is hardly shown in the trailer to conceal her identity. Good boss antagonist is able to blend in with shadows and pull at the strings of her minions like puppets, and not reveal her identity too quickly, to avoid being tracked down. This makes the character more threatening as she appears as just a regular cannibal, but every antagonist has a secret of their own. Lilith wears a similar attire to the Tamer, while the others wear black to suggest that the Tamer is one of her main key figures in every planned attack. Location-wise, to support the wealth the 5 cannibals have, we decided upon a white house. White connotes purity and good, which contradicts the 5 cannibals' role in the audience's eyes, but in the cannibals' eyes, their belief to free the sinners is a good intention. Antagonists would commonly live in a haunted mansion or in a little cabin like in Nosferatu and the Cabin in the Woods to depict a villain's evilness, but we wanted to challenge this convention by having the cannibals be depicted as good people and not immediately giving away their antagonistic nature in the trailer, which as a result deceives the audience. In contrast to the high status of the antagonists, the journalists, Alice White and Maxwell Ellis, are neither dressed smartly or informally but in between to emphasize their working class and have the audience relate to them in everyday life. Alice, being the wisest, stubborn and naturally beautiful despite not paying any attention to her appearance, always deeply focused on the case, shows her as not the stereotypical glamorous protagonist who is taken lightly, but a woman who has the strength to achieve the impossible, a public figure that any woman would want to become, and a symbolic reminder that money cannot buy everything, it all depends on the willpower of a person. In contrast, Maxwell, having the same positive aesthetics but acts recklessly, brutally and accusingly without supportive evidence in a scene, is known as the reckless stereotype in horror. Sound in horror is a convention that sets the pace, mood and rhythm of a trailer. We used a variety of non-diegetic sounds to build tension and fear, ranging from dark ongoing hums and distorted sounds to repetitive drums and a simple piano melody played by Lilith.
Would you care for any refreshments? Go!
This was also greatly influenced by Stoker, involving the independent sounds used for transitions like the single notes of a xylophone, supported by light violins in a remorseful moment in 0043, transitioning to a stronger violin string, revealing a series of fast-paced shots.
It's about what happened to my father.
This immediate smooth transition already puts the audience on edge as it gives away the most dangerous scenes, finishing with India screaming and then is later soothed for slower paced shots in a familiar high school environment. In our trailer, we created a similar structure, but instead of having one fast paced movement, we wanted it repeated like a heartbeat, but not too repetitively, and overlap it with the sounds of a piano on 126 onwards. We incorporated slow, lengthy shots, gradually getting faster and faster, inputting repetitive, distorted sounds to emphasize a deadly atmosphere and enhance the screaming of all the victims to echo and distort with the rhythm of the drums or piano. To finish a trailer, it needs a bang and a moment for the audience to suck in a breath, and so we had the music of the piano grow louder and louder and then suddenly stop by having the tamer walk relaxingly down the stairs, watching Alice bound and gagged, and ends with the titles.